Tyreek Hill just took a generational loss. His divorce will cost a minimum of $10 million. His 17-month marriage will cost him $500,000 in settlement and $20 to $50K a month in spousal support. His wife, an Instagram girl nobody, has secured herself generational wealth in 1 year. While you were working, she laid on her back for a few months and got retirement level money. Why do men keep getting married? What is marriage? Marriage is just a contract. Plain and simple. You don't need a contract to be in love. In fact, it's odd a person needs a contract for you to profess your love, but also reserves the right to not only break that contract, but have you pay them for up to the rest of your life for breaking it. The reward? You get to continue the relationship you already had with them. Yay. The risk? You become their literal slave. I am not sure why people willingly enter into a backdoor method of slavery. The average length of this contract is 8 years. 70% of the time, a woman files for divorce. I'm sorry if some of the sources are weird for this. Normally, it's very easy to Google this information, but it seems Google has now updated its search engine and it really hates gendered questions. The average alimony paid is about $10,000 a year. They estimate 300,000 people are receiving alimony, which seems a little low to me. However, I'm going to go with this data as it was very hard to find official statistics. If we multiply the two numbers, $3 billion in alimony payments are going out, which 70% of the recipients are women. That means $2.1 billion in payments go to women each year. Do you want to be part of the $2.1 billion? While you as a man will provide financial support during the marriage, which must persist after the marriage, nothing a woman does during a marriage can be compelled to be done outside of marriage. If you agree your wife cooks your meals or cleans the bedroom, there is no spousal support going the other direction for this. Marriage is a one-way contract. As much as the media and artificial intelligence tries to program you otherwise. Kita's situation. The media has made her payout seem huge. I'm going to bring this all back to reality now and burst your bubble. She is not being paid a lot. I know it seems like a lot, but her spousal support ends once the divorce proceedings conclude. This is something most outlets aren't reporting. Sensationalism brings the views after all. I'm the Reaper, here to burst their bubble. She got a $5.5 million house, but I don't think her husband has to finance this indefinitely. If he does, though, I don't think he is required to provide maintenance for the property. Mortgage, utilities, insurance, and internet on such a property is a large dollar amount. But if he is also not providing upkeep and maintenance, she will not be able to afford to stay there forever. This also goes for the car she is supposed to get. While she might be excited to flex, the upkeep and maintenance will get costly. I doubt she will be able to afford the vehicle in the long term. Now that we have put her payout into perspective, let's see what Tyreek has lost. She will receive a one-time payment of $500,000 and 1 year spousal support, which will total up to $600,000. If Tyreek was able to achieve the market rate of return of 12%, he lost $10 million over 20 years. Of course, this guy has 5 kids by 5 different women, so chances are he would get closer to a 6% return and lose $3.5 million. This is a huge sum to lose. Let's see how it looks from Kita's perspective. She gets a one time payment of $500,000 and then gets 1 year of spousal support totaling $600,000. Even though she gets 1 year of spousal support and should be paying her own bills, I gave her a grace period and started the expenses the next year. If she spends $150,000 a year and her money is invested and achieves the 12% market rate, she should be able to make the money stretch at least 20 years. She will run out eventually, though, as the amounts are declining. But let's be realistic here. She isn't an investment guru. She won't achieve a 12% market return. But even if we were to give that to her, she's still going to want to live the lifestyle of a person with a $5.5 million house and a luxury car. She will most likely spend $300,000 a year. By year 7, all of the money will be gone. While she does have some work coming in from her fame, I suspect she will spend all of this money, and I'm not going to factor it in at all. Reality for Tyreek. While people are laughing at Tyreek for taking a massive L, no one is talking about the contract he signed. Tyreek signed a $90 million deal with the Dolphins for 3 years. His career earnings are $147 million before this year. It's $188 million after this year. This divorce is not actually a lot of money for him, and I don't know why people aren't putting this in context. In reality, if he has any wealth, this may be a loss of 1 to 3% of his appreciation for the year. However, we know the truth for NFL stars. They don't invest or save anything. All of the money goes to agents, taxes, luxury houses, and cars. We should see a lot more billionaire athletes, and if they ever could come in contact with good financial managers, we would see more. It is much easier to spend and lose money than accumulate, and no matter how much you earn, if you don't know how to manage your money, you will lose it all. We can see the evidence of many athletes losing their money on Spencer Cornelia's channel. If he even set aside $10 million of his earnings by age 30 with a financial advisor and didn't touch this and let it grow, he'd have more than enough to retire on by age 34. The oldest wide receiver currently playing right now is age 34, and I don't think he should expect to work much longer than that. A few years of growth will allow him to spend $1 million a year at the market rate return and still grow his wealth. In reality, he will probably earn 6% given his bad habits, spend more, and be broke by age 55. Conclusion. Finding data on this was unreasonably hard. Google and Bing, as well as the AI summary, wanted to push a non-gendered answer. It seems like the search engine now gets very upset when I ask what gender does something. When Googling what gender typically pays alimony, Google was quick to remind me that either gender can pay, even though my question already implies that. Tyreek is just one more example of athletes making bad financial decisions. To be fair though, their talent is sports, not financial management. You can learn from their mistakes. Pick wisely. Get a prenup. Although they can be thrown out, there's usually a mistake by the man, like asking for a prenup at the last minute. The most safe advice though is don't get married. If a person demands you sign a contract which could potentially enslave you for a lifetime, it probably is not worth marrying that person. That person probably doesn't actually love you either. Tyreek's mistake was massive. If he wisely invested his earnings and set aside 10% of it throughout the years, including his current year's earnings, he'd have $18 million set aside if there was zero growth on that money. If we then started to grow it today, he could retire on over $200 million. It's insane to think how much these athletes earn throughout their careers, and that if they kept even a small amount invested, they would be billionaires. Instead, they spend even more than they make and lose it all.